Germany has changed its asylum policy and has completely stopped accepting applications for asylum from foreigners who have arrived in Germany from another EU member state. This decision mainly affects Poland, through which illegal immigrants transit to Germany. German border guards have begun to refuse entry to these migrants and to send them back to Poland, but not to Lithuania or Latvia, from where much of the illegal migration from Belarus is trafficked. Unfortunately, the Polish border guard seems unable to cope with this latest phase of the migration crisis. This video shows a German police officer making vulgar gestures towards Polish citizen border defense movement members. At the same time, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz admits that his country does not intend to stop transferring illegal immigrants to Poland. Thanks to our actions, we have prevented thousands of illegal entries and many overdue arrest warrants have been carried out. For now, we must maintain border controls to limit migration and for security reasons. Controls have also returned to the Polish borders, but their effectiveness varies. If you don't want to be stopped for inspection, I recommend buying a bus. Look, another bus, tinted windows, Ukrainian license plates if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but probably yes, and it drove straight through. It just drove through. Here we go, another bus. Now there were no tinted windows, just a total tin can. No one even looked. There are 3 groups patrolling here, checking, and no one was interested in the bus. These are just a few examples. However, such recordings may become increasingly difficult to obtain, not because the Polish government knows how to stop the wave of illegal immigration, but because they have banned filming near the border. Donald Tusk's government has designated border crossings as critical infrastructure, which is illegal to photograph, to paralyze the actions of the state as well as the actions of the Polish citizens who defend the borders. What is this all about? The point is to obscure what is happening in our country. As it turns out, the ban on recording applies not only at the border, it also applies inland, as here at the Szczecin-Gumienice railway station. A border guard vehicle is parked here and the location is subject to a ban on the use of drones. The ban on the use of unmanned aerial vehicles was introduced in connection with the regulation of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration on the temporary restoration of border control of persons crossing the state border, constituting an internal border. What is the legal basis for these bans? This is the most important question of parliamentary control in the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration. However, the question remains unanswered. The government acts on the basis of and within the limits of the law. That is why I would like to know the limits of this law, because it should be posted somewhere on the Ministry's website in the first place. It must be communicated. Well, Minister, there are no signs saying no photography at these border crossings. There are no signs saying that recording is not allowed. There is nothing there at the moment. Are we done? But can you finish explaining why it is not marked in any way? Yes, as I said, we will clarify all these issues and respond to you as soon as possible. There are more unanswered questions. For example, why do similar bans on filming not apply to the border with Lithuania, where controls have also been reinstated? Just yesterday, the border guard detained a trafficker transporting 4 Somalis at the Lithuanian border. 120 attempts to illegally enter Poland via the border with Belarus were also blocked, although it is known that many illegal immigrants managed to get into Poland. We would probably never have known about the third route, immigrants transported to Poland from Germany, if it weren't for the grassroots initiative that was the establishment of the border defense movement. The border defense movement is a group that was created to stop what seemed inevitable, what led Western countries to complete destabilization, internal collapse and the downfall of public security. So our goal is to stop mass immigration, to stop the EU Migration Pact, and we will do it. Yesterday, authorities tried to remove volunteers from the border defense movement from the border crossing in Słubice. The citizen patrollers remained in place despite being ordered to move 500 meters away. I'm saying, where am I supposed to go? To the end of the city? I'm saying I'm not going. No? Then the police will come and take you away. I'm saying go ahead. I have the right to stand here. Sometimes I think to myself, what kind of country has Poland become? Today, the border defense movement returned to its place. We are not giving up. We are here. We are watching. That's it. Best regards. We are taking action. Many suspect it was the border defense movement that forced Donald Tusk's government to restore controls on the border with Germany. The Polish government, although it claims that it had been planning to introduce border controls for several months, was forced into a corner by Robert Bankiewicz's border defense movement. One of the movement's demands was the restoration of controls on the border with Germany. The movement, which has been operating on the border since April this year, revealed cases where German services push migrants across the border and the Polish state does not react. However, the results of these controls leave much to be desired. On the section with Lithuania, only one man, an Algerian citizen, was refused entry. At the border crossing points with Germany, only one foreigner without a passport was ordered to return to Germany. A border guard officer quoted by the news agency Rzeczpospolita warns all Poles, "This is a silent Polish-German war on the border. We cannot be responsible for our neighbours' porous borders just because it is convenient for Germany." Official data shows that approximately 40% of foreigners sent back to Poland by Germany in the last 6 months are Ukrainians, but as many as 60% are citizens of Afghanistan, Somalia, Syria, Georgia and Colombia. Łomża. This is not Berlin or Marseille. This is Podlaskie Voivodeship, Poland. Today, Tusk's government is losing control of the border and the safety of its citizens. Instead of protecting them, it is letting in illegal migrants. Podlaskie says, enough. Now you know why Tusk invalidated the immigration referendum in 2023. Today we can all see where this is leading. You are allowing Germany's migrant problem to be shifted onto Poland while you bury your heads in the sand. This is not just Germany's fault. It is the fault of the Polish government's inaction. In the first half of 2025, Germany tried to transfer over 20,000 migrants to other European Union countries. Italy and Austria completely refused to accept them despite thousands of requests from Germany. Greece accepted only 20 people. Meanwhile, Poland accepts almost all migrants turned back by Germany. From the beginning of 2024 to April 2025, over 18,000 illegal migrants were identified at the border. Other countries obviously have different governments, and the Czech, Swiss or Austrian governments, for example, would not allow this. The situation in Poland is different. We have Tusk's coalition government, and this government does not represent the interests of the Polish state in the way the Polish people would wish. Statistics show that mass immigration has always means an increase in violent crime, including sexual assaults. Although immigrants are a minority demographic in Europe, they perpetrate vastly outsized proportions of violent crime. The security of Western European nations has already been lost to some extent, yet there are still no effective deportation systems in place, and political correctness prevails. We cannot allow the same thing to happen to Poland. One of the members of the Polish Parliament's team on illegal migration, Adam Gwiazda, who documents crimes committed by illegal immigrants in Europe on his online profile on X, warned, however, that his observations show that it is not the increase in crime that is the most dangerous consequence of migration, but its sheer scale. European countries, so far not Poland, but that is changing, are seeing such an influx of immigrants from the third world that immigration is actually turning into colonization. Hence the ideas of some politicians in Greece and Spain who now want to solve the problem of mass immigration with mass deportations. The Law and Justice Party in Poland has also announced the creation of a ministry that would deal with deportations from Poland should they regain power.